Hi everyone, welcome to Monday Music Lessons with Floyd Music School. My name is Mike Mitchell, but the students here at Floyd Music School call me Mr. Mike. And it's such a pleasure for us to be working with the good folks at Citizens on this music lesson project. We've been teaching the kids and the parents and the grandparents of Floyd County for 17 years. And for us to bring these lessons to you at Citizens is a joy and a blessing. So, welcome. I think we should start at the beginning if we're going to learn how to play the fiddle or the violin. Whatever style you want to play, we're going to use the same techniques. And you might think, oh, I'm going to have to learn how to hold that big thing and put it under my chin, and I'm going to have to figure that out. But no, what we're going to do is learn how to hold this thing, this little thing. This is 20% of your playing. This is 80% of your playing. So I'm just going to set this down on my desk, and we're going to talk about this guy, the bow. Just a quick story. This bow came to me from a friend of mine at Floyd United Methodist Church, who brought me a couple of Arthur Conner fiddles to see if I could sell them for him. And as most often happens when someone brings me a fiddle, there's a bow in the case. And almost always, the bow that's in the case is an old, junky old stick that's not worth anything, except maybe to stake up the tomato plant. But this bow happened to be in there, and I looked twice, and I looked at him, and I said, his name's David. I said, David, I think you have something here. The long story made short, this bow went off to Nashville to be appraised, and it is now mine. And it is my studio and my stage bow, and I couldn't be more happy about it. Very, very fortunate. So, with this really nice bow of mine, let me teach you how to hold it. We're going to start with, and I'm going to give you two options. We're going to start with what I call the beginner bow grip. And I'd like you to do this with me, please. Just that, real simple. Then open it back up. So you sort of acknowledge this is happening. And this is what we're going to use to hold it. You open it back up. Now, this is where it gets a little funny. Flip it over. If you find yourself with your thumb sticking in the air, you've gone the wrong way. Try again, my friends. Flip it over. There you go. So that's a little strange, right? But we're going to put the bow in there just like that. Set it on the flat of the thumb and bring this finger down so it's on the side of the index finger, right in the first little knuckle seam of our index finger, right? So flip it over, set the bow on this little silver thing's called the ferrule, set it on there, and just let the index finger fall. These guys go down just naturally. And this guy, if we can, curve it and put the fingertip of the little finger at the end of the stick, and try and put it not on the wood. Or, try and put it not on the button, not on the steel part, but right there. So let's do that again, shall we? Hi. Close it, open it up, flip it over to your left, about halfway to your left, so the thumb is flat. Set the bow on it, right on the steel part, not on the hair because that's sticky, and it'll actually get oils and stuff on the hair and make it dirty. And then let your index finger come down. These guys go down naturally, and the little fingertip. That's our bow grip. If you don't have a good grip on the bow, you're not going to be able to push and pull it across the strings with any success. If you're not pushing and pulling it across the strings with any success, you're going to make just a chattery, scratchy, and even sometimes groany sound. So you got to have control of the stick. Those of you who like to fish, same thing. Those of you who like to golf, same thing. Those of you who like to play baseball, you get the idea, right? You've got to hold the thing right before you can move it around and make it do its job. So there we go. This is what I call the beginner bow grip, my friends. Now I'm going to show you the advanced bow grip, because sometimes people have already learned to play a little bit, or they've seen other people play, or they've been smart enough to really look closely when others are playing, and they've seen this. This is what I call the advanced bow grip. Now, this little piece of leather here, it's called thumb leather. And that should tell us something, right? It's for the thumb. The rest of the fingers act the same way. They don't change, but the thumb removes itself from right underneath the bow to right underneath the thumb leather. And, follow me, it's curved. It's bent. If you don't have your thumb bent, then it's not going to work out very well for you, my friends. You've got to curve it. Just doing this won't give you control. You've got to curve it so that it's up on the thumb tip. That way, the thumb tip acts as a fulcrum. And the distance between the index finger and the little finger act as the lever. Does that make sense? So, if you are struggling with it, or maybe even if you're doubtful or dubious, there's a little trick that I like to do. Go ahead and hold it with your thumb flat, and then have someone take the bow out of your hand. You're going to find that you're not going to be able to resist them very much. They will be able to pull the stick out of your hand. And then do the same thing with your thumb tip. And you'll find you have so much control that no one is able to pull that out of your hand. It's amazing. It's the thumb tip. So, and that's why I consider it a more advanced bow grip. Because we've got to be conscientious enough to keep the thumb bent. There you go. Now, there are many, you'll find many fantastic players. Two that come to mind are Mark O'Connor and Michael Cleveland, two of the greatest fiddle players ever. They both use this kind of a grip. Mike Cleveland even uses the side of his thumb, and I can't for the life of me understand how he does it, but he's the greatest bluegrass fiddle player in the history of the instrument. So, we're going to go with that. Mark O'Connor uses this grip. There are many players who use this grip, and they don't ever change. Casey Dreesen is an amazing fiddle player who lives down in Asheville, North Carolina. He uses this grip. So it's, if these great, really successful, amazing sounding professionals use this grip, we should consider this a credible bow grip to use. And then, of course, this, which is also known, just to geek out on it a little bit, it's known as the Galamian bow grip. Ivan Galamian in the mid-20th century, he was the chief fiddle guy at Juilliard and some other amazing music schools. This is his bow grip, and it's still considered the standard. So, my friends, you've got a bow grip. You're holding the darn thing, and you're holding it correctly. You're using a fulcrum and a lever so that you've got control of it. Make sure that the bow has, now we're going to get ready to put it on the strings, yeah? Make sure that the bow has a little bit of tension. Make sure that the hair, the horsehair, has a little bit of tension, just so there's a springiness, and not enough to make the stick go this way. The stick's got to be curved. It has to have a bit of a camber, actually, is what that technically is called. And it's carved this way to have a camber. Now, geek out just a little bit more, a little bow history. Before the mid-19th century, so in the 1700s and the early 1800s, bows were made differently. The construction had a kind of a reverse camber. They're called Baroque bows, and they went this way. I've never played one. You can still find them. People still make them, and some people still use them to play. I don't know anything more about that, but I do know that in the middle of the 1800s, at the Violin school in France, the man's name was Violin. His last name was Violin. No, I'm sorry. The man's name was Pacati. P-E-C-A-T-T-E. Pacati. And he worked at the Violin school. Reversed the camber on the bow, and it's been this way almost 200 years. Our bows have been reverse cambered. So if you find, and I'm not going to move my stick to show, but if you find that your stick is straight, it's either way too tight, or sometimes it's not a really great construction here around your frog, and you have to tighten it. If you too much to play, if you tighten it beyond having a camber, it's not going to be able to control very well. So make sure that you have a decent bow. Make sure that you're holding your bow with a decent bow grip. And then let's get ready to put it on the strings, shall we?